Vacation rentals are in the middle of a neighborhood and coast to coast. They're not going anywhere. A professionally designed vacation rental yields 30% higher ROI right out of the gate. So we have the math, we have the data, we now have the resources, and there's still a lot of ugly houses out there that need to be fixed. So we need you.
Welcome to the On the Wall podcast, where we engage in conversations with artists, designers, enthusiasts, and visionaries who shape the world of interiors. Today's guest is Jessica Duce, the owner of JDuce Design and the founder of Vacation Rental Designers. We learn all about VRD, how it started, who it's for, and how it disrupted the design industry. If you enjoy these conversations, please subscribe, leave a rating, leave a review, and share this podcast with a friend. Thank you once again for joining me on the wall. Just a quick note at the top of the show. If you can just pause right now, go to Apple Podcasts, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, give us a follow, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. It really helps us in our ratings and boosting up our visibility when you guys show your support for the show. So if you enjoy these conversations, please go take a moment and give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate all of your support. And that wraps up the business at the top of the show. Let's get into it with our next guest. Joining me now is Jessica Duce from Vacation Rental Designers. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for giving me a bit of your time before you've got lots of other busy plans today that I've just learned about, which is great. So where are you joining me from now? You're traveling.
Well, I'm actually in Houston, Texas right now. I just got back from North Carolina. So yes, I like to travel for work.
What brings you to Houston?
We live just outside of Houston. So we have an event here downtown Houston today. Normally I don't venture into the big city.
Okay.
But yeah.
So just wanted to dive in and get a little bit of your design background. I know we're going to get all into Vacation Rental Designers in a moment, but just to give our listeners and viewers a bit of your background in design itself.
Well, my mother was a designer, so I was determined to not be my mother. So I was going to be an archaeologist. That was my brilliant plan. And
Indiana Duce.
Yes, exactly. I think that was a big part of that story, and I made it a whole semester, almost a year. Switched to business. I went to Napa Valley College in California, if that shows you what a serious student I was, and ended up working for Wells Fargo. And at the time, I was a young mom, and we had a moving dinner party, and the branch manager had come over and seen my house and asked me to help her in her office. And then that ended up helping her at her home. And then another branch manager asked me for some help. And a year later, I was doing the lobbies of Wells Fargo where we lived. And my mother called me one day and said, "Do you realize you have a design business inside of a bank?" And I had always loved design. I'd always, it's always been a big part of my story. My mother and I would watch movies, and we could tell you the wallpaper of every room, but we couldn't tell you what the ending was. So I decided that was my calling and started to pursue design. And it worked out great at the time because I was a young mom and my husband traveled for work and I could work it in when I wanted to. And I had, at this time back in the day, you would just share the images of your work on Facebook. And, it wasn't everything we had now. And a design firm reached out to me and asked if I would come to work for them because they liked what they saw, which terrified me. So, of course, I immediately said no, because why would you want me? I'm just this, little person doing little things. And my husband encouraged me to do it. And I joined that firm, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Got to learn really the business side. There's gut instincts in design, and then there's the business. And so getting firsthand experience with all of that and working amongst very talented people, and that set me off. And my husband's job had us move a few times, so I had to learn how to move my business, which helped me learn different things in different states and adapt. And one day I got a call from a past, well, really somebody I'd never worked for, and she had seen a home I had done in one state. I lived in Colorado. I had done a home in Nebraska. They called and said, "We like what you did at that house. We bought a vacation rental in Oregon. They usually come furnished. This one did. And we have to pick all new flooring for it. And there's about 10,000 square feet. It's a big decision. And we want to fly you from Colorado. We'll meet you in Oregon. And you got one job, pick out the flooring." And so I thought, they're crazy. They're going to wear my skin. I don't know, but I'm going. It's a trip to Oregon. And I flew out there, met him, 3-hour drive, got to know each other on the drive out, walked in, and I've actually talked about this house. It's called Big Blue. And when you walk in, I called it the House of Beige Sadness because it's this big, huge, beautiful home, right literally on the beach, and large and just, coastal and exciting. And floor to ceiling, it was painted totally tan, every inch, and
Mm.
brown leather sofas. There's a Tuscan oil painting. There's a horse pillow. I'm on the incredible, beautiful Oregon coast in this amazing home with windows and 11 steps to the sand of their private beach. And I'm looking at a horse pillow on a brown leather sofa and totally tan. And so I got brave, and the contractor was standing there with all the samples, and the property manager was standing there, and he had told them, "This house is profitable that you just bought. You don't need a designer. We're making money." And I said, "The flooring isn't your biggest problem. It's the furnishings." And I was not popular for a little bit and followed my gut, and the owner ended up hiring me, and that was my first vacation rental. And I fell in love with that category of design immediately. Love at first sight.
Wow. What did you call it? The Beige House of Sadness?
Yes.
Is that that's a great term.
Yes.
That's probably going to be the title of this episode. Um,
Beige
okay.
Sadness.
Yeah, that's so funny. So then immediately from that point forward, were you just doing vacation rentals, or did you still work within normal residential commercial design, or was it like from that point on, it was just that one area of the market?
On the Wall is brought to you by Milton and King, your trusted partner for luxury crafted wall coverings. Milton and King's trade program is designed to make your creative process seamless, offering exclusive trade-only benefits such as complimentary samples, early access to new collections, and professional pricing structured to enhance your business success. To assist with your projects, you'll have the flexibility to create your own custom swatchbook, tailored specifically to your design needs. With dedicated customer support every step of the way, our trade program is here to elevate your design vision and simplify your journey from inspiration to installation. Ready to join a partner who understands your craft? Visit miltonandking.com to apply for your trade account today. Milton and King, your vision, our craftsmanship.
Well, in 2015, I had to Google what VRBO was before I flew out there. In 2015, this wasn't part of your everyday language to say Airbnb, VRBO. It definitely wasn't on,
Yeah.
the top of the tongue for any retailers or even brands. Back
Right.
in 2015, it was still a market where you went to market and you had to have large opening orders. It wasn't the embrace the designer atmosphere that it is more of today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I loved this category of design, and I wanted to find people that understood it, and it was very challenging. So I kept residential going. To this today, 95% of my business is vacation rental design. And that remaining 5% is we will only do residential projects for past clients or vacation rental design clients. So it is the volume of our business, and it feeds the vacation rental design feeds the residential design.
Yeah. What was it about that home being a rental unit or rental home or whatever? What was it about the way that either it was being approached from design or What was it that made it go like, oh, I'm not just doing a normal house, I'm doing this kind of thing, and this is different than everything else?
Well, instinctually, I knew that um, a home that somebody's going to rent needs to have a vibe that flows with the experience of where the home is. It's a large home, literally on the beach with windows, and you shouldn't see something that makes you think of Colorado or Texas, right? The floor is slate.
Okay.
That's why they flew me out there, because the entire house main floor is slate. The enemy of slate is salt. So there are many issues with their floor, but that floor is actually still there to this day. But what
Oh,
I knew instinctually is that as a designer, when you have that gut feeling, I knew that this was not someplace that I would feel comfortable in for a beach experience, for a coastal experience. Oregon's slogan is where the forest meets the trees, and it's absolutely stunning, and cliffs, and you can see whales from the home and the whole thing. So a picture of Tuscany and totally tan, you feel off. It's almost like the early vibes of biophilia in a way, because you just know that spatially or instinctively it's off. But I
hmm
also had done a little bit of commercial work. So I knew that a home of this size that can sleep up to 24 could have the same standards that possibly a commercial property could. So fortunately, this owner was willing to kind of essentially pay for my learning curve. I immediately went to BDNY. I'm like, I've got this figured out. I'm going to be this amazing designer and do vacation rentals. I had to do my homework. I went to a VRMA conference, which is Vacation Rental Management Association. I went there and I went, I've got this great project. I'm a designer. I've got all these ideas. And they went, we don't even have a category for you in 2015. You can sign up under housekeeping if you want to attend. This was like early on in the conversation. There was no Airbnb premier properties at this time. Nobody was talking about this. I went to BDNY and said, I've got this thing. I'm doing this thing. I'm so excited. And they said, we can sell you light fixtures. We sell them in blocks of 150. Everything was geared by volume for large commercial properties. I needed to be a Marriott or a Hilton at BDNY at that time.
Mm.
So I went to High Point Market. That is why I went to High Point Market for the very first time in 2015, because I wanted to figure out this design category. It's a category where you can be more creative. It has a little quicker turnaround. And prior to designers working actively in vacation rentals design, the idea was more along the lines of, if you found it on the side of the road, you hated it in your house, it was in grandma's basement, put it in the vacation rental. It's going to rent. It doesn't matter. Aesthetics are, it's not a priority. And that began to shift because what started happening was the volume of properties increased during this time from 2015 to right before COVID. And it was finally starting to really get out there. This European model that was starting to get really popular in the States. So now they have some competition and they're starting to understand the importance of aesthetics. And then COVID happened and our business exploded. And when you see those images from COVID where there's one person on a plane, that was our team. And it went
Mm.
from owners and investors and property managers, after we had started to learn and understand who could work with us and be a source. What we found was that these property managers and investors were calling us and saying, we need you to change over our design because we have people that want to rent a home for 3 months, 6 months instead of a weekend. So we had to quickly incorporate different furnishings, desks, amenities, all of that in a very quick turnaround. So with that explosion, it was very exciting. We were all over the country. And that's when we went to High Point Market Authority and HPXD with Jane Dagme and said, we're onto something. There's people like us doing what we're doing, and we can't find each other. And we need an event. We need a summit. And then we did that.
And was that pretty much the formation of VRD as we know it now, or?
It was the beginning. It was the early stages. I pitched the idea of a vacation rental design summit to Jane Dagme of HPXD, and she loved it. Erica Surratt came on board. She's a brilliant brand designer and creator, and formerly worked for Airbnb and helped them launch their premier property program. And the three of us went to High Point Market Authority, and they said, we want to do this. This sounds like something that is a new disruptor in the industry. And what we learned, because this was not on my bingo card, is that very rarely does a new category of design or a new category of disruption in our industry happen. And vacation rental design is that. It's actually the fastest growing design category in the world now. And this isn't my data. This comes from a company called Data. Oh gosh, I just forgot the name of it. It'll come back to me.
Hmm.
But conferences all over the country are now incorporating this category for vacation rental design. So when High Point Market wanted to be involved in that, that was a huge deal. They wanted to bring new buyers to the market and introduce that they were trend setting. Well, now this category of design, this community is in all the markets, all over, internationally, nationally. After our first summit, which was in 23, I knew that it was a successful summit. It sold out. We had a wait list. We had a brand wait list. It was great. All the, hopes and dreams and fears, it worked out. And I knew that these people, we had gathered them. How are we going to keep them together? And that's when we started the Verd Collective, or what we call Verd, which Milton and King are members of.
Hmm. So was the summit pretty much how you all found each other?
Yes.
Okay. So that was sort of like the tool to kind of get everybody together and to actually form this group.
Yes.
Like, did you know, was this group sort of already in formation prior to the summit? And no, it wasn't. So it wasn't until everybody
No,
came together you said we could actually do something with this as a collective.
I would say this entire category, this summit, this collective, this movement is all based on leaps of faith. Because Jane Dagme, who I pitched the idea to, she had interviewed me for a brand ambassadorship I have with Revolution Fabrics. That's the only way I knew her. And I just got brave. And same with Erica. We weren't all connected. And then we didn't have a relationship with High Point Market Authority. And we went to them, praying, hoping. Went to the brands and said, you've never heard of what we're talking about. We design differently. We do everything differently. Please trust us. And they did. And so then after that first summit, that same leap of faith mentality said, in 3 days, we pulled together the collective. And I knew instinctively that the designers wanted to maintain a community, but we had to have more than that. So that's why I wanted to bring the brands in. And what I tell
Mm-hmm.
brands is, for example, in a residential project, I do your living room and you love it. And hopefully you cry and you show your mom and you show your neighbor. We take photos and maybe it gets published. But you're not going to call me for that living room again for 10 years if I did it right. In a
Mm-hmm.
vacation rental, I want that same experience that your guests come in and love it. It's aesthetically beautiful, but also performs well for the investor and owner. But I'm also going to buy a lot of those furnishings again, like 2 to 3 times minimum over 10 years. Not because I picked inferior products, but because of wear and tear, because I did my job right and I knew what's going to wear and what isn't. So that brand, you have a social media model where you have recurring product. You have your images living on multiple platforms. You have an opportunity to share what we sourced in the space with potential guests, thousands of them. And this is a repeatable model over and over and over. So the longevity for a brand and a designer in a vacation rental model is quite different than a residential model.
Yeah. Just see, I'm a bit familiar with all of this just because of my research and what I'm doing here, but I worry a little bit for like sort of the uninitiated, for the person that doesn't know what we're talking about. Um, can you give sort of, I guess, the brief or the pitch to like an interior designer who may just be hearing about this for the first time? Like, what is vacation rental designers? What is the VRD, and how does it relate to, I guess, how is it something that they might be interested in, and what is the relationship with brands that you've brought on board?
Sure.
How's it all
Well,
work?
well, right out of the gate, vacation rental design. So again, AirDNA, that's the statistics company that I wanted to remember the name
Okay.
of. They research all of this. So They have, with census data as well, 1 in 7 people own a second home or have a vacation rental. And those are two different things, but 1 in 7. So I tell designers right out of the gate, if 1 in 7 of your clients is going to be either a second home owner or a vacation rental owner, then you need to at least be able to be educated on this conversation and know if you want to tackle this category of design or how you should refer them. All you have to have is 8 clients and you're going to have this conversation. So with that, what designers have found that have tackled this category is that it's very fast, it's a quick turnover, and you get to be a lot more creative, and it's a repeatable model. So for example, I have a home in Carmel, California that we're working on, and every room is named, and we know every product in the house, and we've done all the bedding and linens, and that owner and that property manager knows that they can call us and say, the lamp in the seashell room, I'm making things up, got knocked over, drop ship it to me. They keep us on retainer for any issues they have, or we replenish all their bedding, or this amazing chair that you sent, the guest that came, they want to know where you sourced it from, they want them. You don't have that in residential design. So we have a constantly replenishable model in vacation rental design. So learning the ins and outs, learning where to spend the money, learning what brands that want to work with you on this faster turnover that's, in my opinion, a little more exciting, is really key to your success. And that's what we teach in the Vacation Rental Designers Collective. So when I first started out at the time in 2015 and then later through COVID, it was hard to find a company that would white glove or drop ship. And that's really important to somebody in vacation rental design. The first property I did in Waldport, Oregon, there's not even a real hardware store. There's Bob's Hardware. We had to pack our tools. There's no receivers. You have to learn how to adapt. Well, fast forward today, now we have more categories, more retailers, more brands that are on board. But what we've had to teach brands, and the brands that we target today are the ones that understand this turnover with vacation rental design. It's everywhere. Vacation rentals are in the middle of a neighborhood and coast to coast. They're not going anywhere.
Introducing Benchmade Modern. Tailored sofas crafted just for you, delivered in as little as 4 weeks. Create a custom piece that perfectly reflects your style. Choose from our collection of designs from timeless to modern. Customize the size, then personalize with your ideal fabric, cushion, and leg style. Discover your dream sofa today.
Right. Yeah, it's almost, for lack of a better term, it's when you talk about the turnover, it's almost like there's a steady flow of consumer, both on the investor side and on the guest side. Because like you said, you're getting inquiries from guests that stay there, and there could be a new guest there every week or every month. And so there's just that constant, consumerism, or however you want to call it,
Right.
or turnover, whatever. You're having people basically constantly consuming the design, not the same family living in the same living room for 20 years. You're having new people basically see the design all the time, or experiencing the design from where they're staying. So that's a really interesting viewpoint on how it's constantly being exposed, is I guess
Always.
another way to say it.
Well, and when we work with an owner and investor, it's a soup to nuts process. So nowadays, it's changed a lot. I've been doing this since 2015. Now every property that we work with has their own website, has their own branding, has their own drip campaign from the moment somebody reaches out to them to the 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year anniversary of their stay. This is a business. And with that comes a responsibility for good design. After COVID, the market was saturated with properties and it needed some adjustment, which is great. We are very responsible in the way we teach vacation rental design. We're We actually use data before we do anything. We run a data report to tell us what our competition is in the area, what reviews, positive and negative, are the competition, what events have been there over the last 5 to 10 years, what is projected to come for the next 5 to 10 years. And we tell owners, because this is part of the education, a lot of times they come in, they say, I bought this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, I want to sleep 20. That's not responsible. That doesn't make sense.
No.
We're not the right designer for you. That's not what true curated vacation rental design is. It's responsible, aesthetic, well-intentioned design. And
Yeah,
so
you're not just
after,
stacking bodies.
no, this is not rooms of bunk beds. And
Yeah.
this is paying off because the market was saturated after COVID. And there is a adjustment happening, and the properties that are done with elevated design and true vacation rental designers that do the homework, they are thriving. This same company, AirDNA, that we all use data from, all the associations, everybody, say that a professionally designed vacation rental yields 30% higher ROI right out of the gate. So we have the math, we have the data, we now have the resources. We've been working with the brands that understand what we're trying to do. And we're out there. There's still a lot of ugly houses out there that need to be fixed. So we need
Yeah.
you.
When you go to the website, um, some of the first things that pop up say the business of design.
Mm-hmm.
And underneath that, there's a little excerpt that says, you don't have to be a vacation rental designer to be here. In fact, you never have to have designed a single short-term rental.
Right.
Can you expand on that a little bit in terms of if I'm an interior designer and I'm like, what is this? What would this mean for me? And I guess maybe you can get into sort of the benefits of a VRD membership as well with that.
I'm so glad you asked that. So obviously, my passion is vacation rental design, and many of the designers in our group. We think we're at 130 designers right now, and I believe we have 50 brands. And really, what we are is a community. And what I wanted to do was connect designers and brands together without a middleman. What I learned early on is by going to brands and saying, I need help with this. I can't find this. Can you help me do this? Can you help me figure out how to get product here? What I learned is that the relationships are key. That's really what this is all about. And so I also learned about buying groups. And I'm not a buying group. I'm anti-buying group. I see why buying groups happened back in the day when it was hard for designers to maybe get into certain showrooms, but those days are gone. So what we do at the collective, BRD, is that when a brand joins us and a designer joins us, we connect them. And we have pre-negotiated the terms for the designers in the collective. So for example, one of our large furniture retailers, actually several of them in our group, they make all of our designers automatically stocking dealer the second that they join. And that relationship is direct. There is no middleman. We don't skim. You open your account directly with that manufacturer, or like Milton and King. We're so proud to have Milton and King as our first wallpaper partner. That relationship is direct. We've just pre-negotiated the discount. And that discount is in place as long as our designers are members. And that is a benefit for any designer. What I wanted to express is that I really believe in community. And if vacation rental design isn't for you, that's okay. But if you want to have a direct relationship with other designers and brands and elevate your business and see other ways that you can thrive, we have an accountability group. We work with PR firms. We have photography lessons. We have digital marketing lessons. All of that rising tide methodology, that's what the collective is. So we just want everybody to get a good start and thrive together.
But like you said, you don't even have to be a designer that's doing short-term rental design necessarily.
No, we have several designers that don't want to do vacation rental design. It is not for them. And we have a few that have, very high-end clients. They have large design firms. They have, multi-million dollar projects, and that is their wheelhouse. That's great. I love that for them. If they have a client that comes to them with the needs or wants of a vacation rental home, they know how to have that conversation and where to direct them. That's great. But what we provide is community, brand relationships that are direct, amazing discounts, one order and you've paid for your membership for the year, special events, accountability. If you're looking for a community that is just there to share with you, that's what we are. And we have seen some growth for solopreneurs. It's hard to be a solopreneur. You need people to bounce things off of. And it's hard to build accounts with large discounts when you're a solopreneur. So we check all those boxes.
Yeah, that's great. I did see the website does have a lot of good resources. I mean, even I was just kind of browsing through the blog that's there. Um, Everything from the importance of direct bookings as opposed to, I guess, being on large websites. Even like the the benefits of dog-friendly rentals, I think I saw as one title. So there's lots of resources just within, reading resources and lots of like a wealth of knowledge that comes through the site. So that's really great too. Is that curated by your members?
No, we actually have a team. There's 5 of us, and
Okay.
we do have some guest blogs that some of our members do, but really we're connecting people. So, for example, early on, Linda Holt, she's an amazing designer, photographer, and she actually teaches designers how to do photography from their iPhones or Androids, and they're beautiful. Her
Okay.
photos have been published. She does incredible work, and it's from her phone, which is amazing. So she may do a guest blog. She does webinars for our members. Erica Surratt, PR, like all kinds of things. So we do a mixture of designers that want to share information, but we also have outside people that we allow to bring in information.
Gotcha. On the design side, what would you say are some of the, I guess, biggest mistakes you see designers making? Like, I guess, let's say in a situation where you have an interior designer that's maybe just getting their feet wet in the vacation rental design area. What are some of maybe the pitfalls or kind of mistakes you might see from a newbie that's just getting involved in doing that type of project?
For a vacation rental project, the first mistakes I see, and I personally made this mistake early on, so I always share this, is feeling that you need to push the easy button to create design. And so maybe by using a company that rhymes with Mayfair, um,
Okay.
and shopping all in one cart so that you can have one-stop shop shipping for that project, that's a real mistake. And your mistake is for a lot of things. You don't get a curated look that really you need to provide. You should have a nod to your area. You should do your homework first. You should know what little moments that you can create in the space that maybe have a nod to the history of the area or what guests may be looking for in that area. But you also aren't developing any relationships for the brands that you're curating in that space. So don't worry about pushing that easy button for the install. Get out there, shop local, and utilize your brand connections to make a more curated space. And the other mistake that I see happen that we talk about in the collective a lot is not taking advantage of fractional relationships. And what I mean by that is sometimes designers get overwhelmed and they feel that to grow this category or any type of design, whether it's residential, vacation rental, whatever, they need a social media director. They need to have a retainer for PR or marketing, or they need to have a digital marketer to do all of those things. And something that the collective does is that they offer all of those resources, those direct connections, but fractionally. You may need them by the hour or by the month or by the project, but you don't have to lock yourself in, especially as a solopreneur with not as robust of a budget as you hope in the beginnings of your career. If you can make all of those decisions fractionally, then you really have an advantage to grow your business.
What's a success story that you can think of where a small design change that would have really sort of turned things around? Because obviously, like you said, you've got data, which is very interesting, that may not exist kind of in your normal interior design world. You get it because you see numbers and you see rental numbers and bookings and things like that. Is there any instance that you can think of where a design choice was made and you saw the direct positive data results from that design choice?
We had a project that we did in Bandon, Oregon. And Bandon Dunes is one of the most prestigious golf courses in North America. And I know all about it now because I had to research it because I'm not a golfer. But it's a beautiful area. It's on the Oregon coast, and people come from all over the world to go to Bandon Dunes to golf. So when we got that project, we did our data right out of the gate. And after sharing what we learned, the owners, who I had worked for before but had never built in the Bandon Dunes areas, were really surprised by some of our findings. And what we found is that we needed to have glove and shoe dryers built in, and we needed to have golf lockers. There was only a few properties that had that as competition, and the actual resort had a few of these, but this was something that was continually seen in reviews, not just in vacation rentals, but reviews in general of people that the data showed, where they're like, hey, if you go to Bandon Dunes, you're going to want to take more than one pair of this because it rains there all the time and you want to golf every day. And it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars to golf, and you don't want to have wet shoes or wet gloves. So we researched for the best glove and shoe dryers that would hang on the wall that were commercially adaptable to a vacation rental. We also learned that when people are done golfing for the day, they want to come back and they want to have the amenities of a beautiful kitchen, but they want a chef to come in and cook for them at this level. They're not looking to cook. They want a chef to come in and cook. So we actually designed the kitchen to be more chef enticing as opposed to a guest that's going to come back and make something. We knew that from our data that they wanted to come back and feel warm. So a lot of vacation rentals have hot tubs, but we needed to incorporate a sauna that would seat multiple people because that's what the feedback was after a cold, long, rainy day in Oregon golfing. So some different amenities like that were specifically chosen based on our data. And that property was featured in the Wall Street Journal, and they are doing great.
Wow, that is a success story. A couple more questions for you just as we wrap up here. I know you've got places to go and things to do. First of all, if someone is interested, can you kind of just give us where do they go to get more information? What's the best way to get in touch? What is somebody who's kind of interested in learning more and diving in? Where do they go? What do they do?
Well, go to our website, Vacation Rental Designers Collective, or vacationrentaldesigners.com, actually. And we actually even have a button you can click, and you can do a discovery call with Peg, who onboards everybody that's joining the collective. We do things differently. We have a membership fee because we don't skim. We are not part of your transactions. Everything is direct with all of the professionals and the brands that we connect you with. That's why there's a fee. When we have a new member, we actually onboard them, walk them through the process, let them know all of these amazing amenities at their fingertips, whether you do vacation rental design or residential design or commercial design, whatever it is, we want you to know how to best utilize that. And then on top of that, we send out a care package. We send out a ring of all the brands for a quick at a glance when you're sourcing at your desk. We want you to feel like you're instantly part of the community. So go to vacationrentaldesigners.com. Everything can walk you through it there. Or reach out to me, Jessica Duce. You can find me through JDuce Design or Vacation Rental Designers. We would love to have you. We are really just a community of people that wants to see people thrive in this crazy industry and not feel alone. And that's what I felt back in 2015. And I was determined to not have that feeling ever again when I was trying to figure this out. And so we've just expanded that, and we want designers to have a community.
That's great. You had mentioned Milton and King being your first wallpaper brand. How often is wallpaper used in these in these vacation rental designs and spaces, and like how often is it being changed out, and what are sort of the kind of go-to designs that is it sort of just all over runs the gamut, or are there certain types of designs that seem to work best, and what do you look for?
I use wallpaper in every single project I do, whether it's residential or vacation rental. In vacation rentals, I mean, I would think right now, especially wallpaper is like, I'm so glad it's back. As the daughter of a designer, wallpaper, that's my earliest memory of my childhood room is what my wallpaper was. So, designers are using it for all projects. In vacation rental, we can actually be a little bolder because you're going for the wows. In vacation rental design, it's called stop the scroll. And when people are surfing and looking for a property to rent, whatever stops the scroll, that image that catches their eye, that's what we're going for. And wallpaper is a great way to do that. So I see designers being bolder with their wallpaper choices in general right now, which is very exciting. But in vacation rental design, go big or go home.
And one final question for you. It's a question that I ask everyone that comes onto the podcast. So you are someone who obviously fell in love with design in a very passed down like through your mother, and you were talking about how you remember wallpaper, and so you've got this sort of love of design, love of creativity, but also at the same time you're running a business and you're running all over the country. And those can be kind of almost two opposing, very opposite parts of your brain. One's like a math brain, and the other's sort of like your artsy, creative brain. So, what is it that you do now, amongst how busy you are? What is it you do to stay creative?
Well, for me, I have a great team. And I learned this a long time ago. I think I have to learn everything the hard way, but always try to hire people around you that are better at the things that you aren't that great at. And I have an amazing lead designer that I work with. And so when the math brain is in full mode, you don't feel as creative, right? And she really helps drive the bus for us. So having important players on your team, I think helps balance that out. I have to shut off the world sometimes. I am not math girl. I don't like it, but I have to do it. I have to put on my big girl pants. And after that, I have to shut off the world and get my creative juices flowing again. So that's how I deal with it.
So you turn everything off, phones off.
Yeah, literally. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
It could be as simple as scrolling through old magazines or, not TV, nothing digital. Just shut it down. That's my survival technique.
Great answer. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. This was really nice. Thank you.